Okay, so today we're going to be looking at the distributive property. And what the distributive property allows us to do is we can write the same expression in many different forms. For example, I have one here on the front page. If we look at this, 3 times the quantity 2 plus 5, well, we have to look at that. Most of you would do 2 plus 5 equals 7. 3 times 7 is 21. Now, so we would put our 21 right here. We could just write 3 times 7 and get 21. Or maybe when you want to write it this way, 3 times 2 is 6, plus 3 times 5, which is 15, and that equals 21. And I'm going to show you how to do that in the next few slides. Now, most of the time we'll be using the distributive property. It's going to be to solve equations. So right now we're going to look at how to simplify some expressions using the distributive property. What the distributive property says to do is to distribute whatever's on the outside to everything on the inside. Now remember that a number next to a parenthesis means we're going to be multiplying. So we're going to multiply 3 times x and we get 3x. Then we're going to multiply 3, and let's look at the sign in front of it, times positive 2 or plus 2, and we get 6. So 3 times the quantity x plus 2 equals 3x plus 6. Another way you could think of it is if you had x plus 2 and then you had another x plus 2 and then you had 3 x plus 2's, what would you have when you get finished? Well, if you look at it, we would have 3 x's plus these 6. So we would have 3x plus 6. So that's how the distributive property works. But you don't have to do all this. You can just stick with this easy math. All right, let's look at our next one. 4 times the quantity x minus 1. So we're going to distribute the 4 over both of the numbers. 4 times x will be 4x. Now in this case we have a minus 1, or we could think of it as a negative 1. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. So this expression could be simplified to 4x minus 4 using the distributive property. Okay, this one looks a little bit more complicated, but it's not. We just have to remember we're distributing the 5 to each of the numbers. So in this case we're going to multiply 5 times 2x and we'll get 10x. Then we multiply 5 times negative 3 and we'll get minus 15 because 5 times a negative 3 is negative 15. Alright, for the next one, oh no, this one has a negative on the front. So we have to remember that negative. And this is the kind of problem that sometimes confuses kids, but I think you can do it. So we do negative 2 times x and we get negative 2x. Well, in this case, we're going to multiply negative 2 times positive 3. A negative times a positive is a negative. So there we go. We get negative 2x minus 6. Okay, here's another example. Now this is the one kids miss the most, so pay close attention to this. Negative 4 times 2x. That will be negative 8x. Then negative 4 times negative 3. A negative times a negative equals a positive. So that's what the mistake most people make. It's a negative times a negative equaling a positive. So that's the distributive property. Important things to remember: make sure you distribute the number to both of the things on the inside, and what's your negative and positive signs.